Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chapter 1, Section 3, Homework Assignment. Let's look at these. Number 1, determine whether the given description corresponds to an observational study or an experiment. Remember the difference of the two? Experiment is where you interject a treatment of some sort. You change something. Observation is you cannot influence anything. You have to be just observer. In a study of 424 students with a particular disease, the subjects are monitored with an EEG, electroencephalogram, while they sleep. Now, are they given anything that changes their outcome of their disease? All they're done is they're given a temperature. So there's no treatment. The given description corresponds to an experiment. No, because there's no treatment. The given description corresponds to an observational study. That looks like so far does not provide. Yes, it does. So it's B. Number 2, in a double-blind experiment designed to test the effectiveness of a new medication as a treatment. So it's an experiment because you have a treatment for lower back pain. 1,643 patients were randomly assigned to one of three groups. 574 were the placebo group, were given sugar pills. 550 were given pills with the new medication at regular intervals, and 546 subjects were in a group given pills with the new medication, but taken when needed for pain relief. In terms of the basic differences at regular intervals, so it's always in your body, as opposed to this one, it's only when needed. What does it mean to say that an experiment has double blind? The subjects in the study do not know whether they were taking a placebo or the new medication, and those who administer the pills also don't know. That's exactly what it is. The subjects in the study were given a choice. No, they're given no choice. The subjects in the study do not know whether they were taking a placebo or a new medication, but the people who administer it don't know either. That's why it's called a double blind. They're both blind. The people who give the medication and people who take the medication. Both subjects in the study and those who administer the pills knew they did not know. So it's A. Again, once you know the definitions, these questions, you know what you're looking for. A study of an association between which ear is used for cell phone calls. Okay, so when your phone rings, which ear do you put it to? Which ear your phone call, and whether the subject is left-handed or right-handed. Began with a survey emailed to 5,000 people belonging to Autology online group. And 717 surveys were returned out of the 5,000. Autology relates to the ear of hearing. So it's the ear, nose, and that people. So it's autology's ear and hearing. What percentage of the 5,000 surveys were returned? Remember, percent is part over total times 100. Does the response rate appear to be low? In general, what is the problem with a very low response rate? Right? So of the 5,000 surveys, we had 717 out of 5,000. Right. Let's do that calculation. Calculator, we have 717 divided by 5,000. That equals 0.1434. Times 100 equals 14.34%. Okay, we just want a whole number. So round to the nearest whole number. So we don't need that number. We look at this one. Since we're rounding up to this number, we look at the next digit. It's between 0 and 4, just drop it. If it's between 5 and 9, add 1 to this number. So that's a 3, just drop it. So it's 14%. So that's what goes there. The response rate blanks to be low. It does appear to be low, but it's only 14%. Here are possible answers. Appears and does not appear. In general, what's the problem with that kind of survey? A low response rate? It indicates that the study is unimportant and that the researchers should not. That doesn't mean it's not important. It's just people are apathetic. It creates a serious potential for getting a biased sample that consists of those with special interest to the topic. That could be true because, as you said, people who respond are either the people who are strongly supportive of it or really hate it. It creates a serious potential of confounding, which creates a serious potential for erroneous conclusions. No, not confounding is making by error. No, it's the low number won't do that. It's just how you present it. A graph would do that. So that's not right. It indicates a lack of blinding, which creates a serious potential. No, doesn't indicate lack of blinding. How would you do a blinding of a survey? So that's ridiculous. So the answer has to be B. Identify the type of sampling used: random, systematic, convenience, stratified, or cluster sampling. In the situation described below. Remember, go review what each of these mean, and then it'll make a lot more sense when you read the answers. So, in a poll conducted by a certain research center, 763 adults were called after their telephone numbers were randomly generated by a computer. And 61% were able to correctly identify the Secretary of State. Is it convenience? No, remember, convenience is just that. Is it convenient? No. Is it a cluster? No, because they weren't partitioned. Is it random? It totally looks at that because there was nobody controls on whose phone number works and who answers the phone. So far, that's the best one. Is it systematic or stratified? Are there layers or did they choose every fifth one? That systematic means every nth one. Nope, they just chose everybody and whoever responded. So it's not, so it has to be random sampling. Identify which of these types of sampling is used: random, systematic, convenience, stratified, or cluster. To determine her blood sugar level, Charlotte divides up her day into 3 parts: morning, afternoon, and evening. Who'd ever thought that? She then measures her blood sugar levels at 4 randomly selected times during each part of the day. What type of sampling is it? Well, remember, she makes them into 3 different parts of the day and turns it in 3 parts. She measures her blood sugars at 4 randomly selected times during each part. So inside here, you have 4. Inside here, you have 4. So it's not clustered. This is obviously stratified because it's all in layers. Remember, random is by chance. Systematic is you do the first one, you do the 5th one, do the 10th one, or 1st, 4th, 8th, 12th. So it's not systematic. Convenience, is it convenient? No, that seems like a lot more than convenient. And cluster is when you put it in groups and inside those groups you do them. So no, this one is it's done specifically. There are no groups inside there. Identify which type of sampling is used. A magazine asks its readers to call in their opinion regarding the quality of articles. They just called in. I mean, all they did was announce it. It's not stratified. It's not systematic because they have no choice about that. Is it random? It all depends on who answers. Is it convenient? It's definitely not a cluster. So we are only two logical ones could be here. All the magazine did was ask them call in. They don't have to do anything else. So the randomness is up to the people, not to the magazine. So it's not random. So it's a convenience. Sampling. Determine whether the study is an experiment or an observational study, and then identify a major problem with the study. A study involving 22,071 male physicians. Based on a random selection, so it's randomized, 11,000 of them were treated with an aspirin, and the other 11,000 were given placebos. The study was stopped early because it became clear that aspirin reduced the risk of myocardial infarction by a substantial amount. So remember, they're given an aspirin, so that's a treatment. So since this is an experiment, because you're given aspirins, because the researchers applied a treatment. The major problem of this study, this is a convenience sample with voluntary, no, it's not a convenience. You have the two groups. There is no blinding or replication, which has a high chance of leading to bias. Yeah. The results apply only to male physicians. Yes. Okay, both of these sound pretty good. The results apply only to individuals with heart disease. No. There's no blinding. Well, it didn't tell us about the blinding. It just tells us what happened. So we can't really summarize that. So I'm saying for this one, the only logical one is the results apply only to male, but that's the only thing they use was male physicians. How do those aspirins work on female physicians? Number 8, determine whether the study is an experiment or observation and identify the major problem. A sociologist has created a brief survey to be given to 2,000 adults randomly selected from the US population. Here are the first two questions. Have you ever been the victim of a felony crime? Have you ever been convicted of a felony? There's the problem right there. Who's going to admit to that? So is there any intervention, any treatment given? No. So this is an observational study because the researcher does not give any type of modification and does not give any treatment to the individuals. What is the major problem with this study? There is no blinding or replication, which is high chance, because you don't need blinding for an observational. So blinding only works for experiments. The sample includes only US adults. Yeah, but it's of the population, so that's not a problem. Individuals convicted of a felony are more likely to not answer. That looks like the winner. Responses will be voluntary, which will lead to high chance of bias. Now, the best one is people who are convicted won't admit to it. Identify which of these designs is most appropriate for the given experiment. Completely randomized design, randomly blocked design, or matched pair design. Currently, there is no approved vaccine for the prevention of infection by a certain virus. A clinical trial of a possible vaccine is being planned to include subjects treated with the vaccine while other subjects are given placebos. So is it matched pairs, randomized, or completely randomized? I mean, there's no pairs going on here. There's no blocks being fed. This is just completely randomized. That's what's happening. It's just a very quick forward here. You're getting this, you're getting this. And the last one. Which sampling method divides the population into sections, randomly selects some of those sections, then chooses all the members from the selected sections for the study? That, by definition, is a cluster. It's not convenience. It's not stratified. It's not systematic because it's not every 10th one or every 5th one. It's not easy. But this one here, you're looking at the population, you're cutting it into sections. That's by definition a cluster. All right. Good luck, everybody.